What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is
a very disgruntled Jake Mother effing Bulls on the mic 1-2.
And exhausted, too.
Yes.
It was a great time in San Francisco. Well, Santa Clara, but...
Yeah, it was. We went to the 49ers-Chargers game, Sunday Night Football. Had the time of our lives. We got to see each other. Haven't seen each other in person for months. So it was a good experience. But we're here recording. You know, we might not have the most energy on this episode, but, you know, we're here.
Yeah, let's just say the tailgate and everything kind of took it out of us. But it was fun, you know. Glad we got to see them in person. You know, your first ever game you got to go to was a win, so that's always a good feeling.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, guys, we're just going to do our Week 10 recap. We're going to be starting off with the Thursday night game, Falcons-Panthers, go all the way to Monday to the game that just finished because we are recording on Monday. If you guys aren't already, like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead. Follow us on our Instagram at Cannonballs Podcast. Cannonballs with a Z _podcast. Jeez, that's how you know it's been a long freaking weekend. Taking me a little bit to remember even our Instagram. But yeah, go ahead, give us a follow on there. We do bonus content on there. Jake does a good job managing our social media. Jake, do you have anything to add before we get going?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of social media, I haven't been able to post. Usually I do like the power rankings, make some reels. I haven't done it. I've been slacking this week just because of, you know, the game and just being busy with all this shit. So sorry about that if you guys were looking forward to that, but look out for more. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so let's get started with the Thursday night game. We had a rematch of two teams that played each other just recently, like a couple weeks ago. And the first game was definitely a lot more exciting than this one. The Falcons kind of got destroyed, not like score-wise, but they just couldn't really do anything except for one quarter. In the third quarter, they looked like they might catch up and come back, but Carolina pretty much dominated this game. I think one of the reasons Carolina dominated this game is they had time of possession, and then, you know, the Falcons couldn't really rush the ball. Cordero Patterson only had 18 yards on the ground. Caleb Huntley, 32. Marcus Mariota led the pack with 43, but he only threw 186 yards. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then, Carolina's defense just kind of manhandled them for a good portion of this game. And D'Onta Foreman, man, the guy rushed for 130 yards. He had a good game.
Yeah, it was, you said it best, the freaking rushing. Cordell Patterson coming back. I mean, I know he's coming off the injury, but, like, come on. Let's get the ball to Patterson more. And then Mariota just looks bad. Right, he looked bad this week. You know, it kind of showed his limitations. So I don't think it's time to put Desmond Ridder in yet. I still think Mariota gives them the best chance to win at the moment. Especially they're fighting for a playoff spot, which is crazy to say, but yeah, the Falcons need Mariota to play better. Otherwise, they're not going to do anything. And their playoff hopes are going to squander. But, it was a very entertaining game. You know, we got a couple good Thursday night games, and then we got this one. So they had a chance to win at the end, but, you know.
It is what it is. Yeah, so neither of these teams are very good this year. You know, Atlanta kind of giving up that lead in the division to Tampa Bay now, which is going to be our next game. So we have the Seattle Seahawks and Tampa playing in Germany. I actually didn't get to see any of this game live. I saw some of the replays and everything. Mm-hmm. And Geno Smith played fine. Threw 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Seattle's defense surprisingly seemed to struggle a little bit more in this game than they have in the past, which was interesting. Tom Brady had a bounce-back game. He looked better. I mean, he did have an interception, but 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans leading the pack with 71 and 54 yards. And Tampa Bay's defense made it hard. You know, they really put the pressure on the Seattle offense. So good win for Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. You know, it's good to see them have back-to-back winning games.
Yeah, they also shut down the run. Kenneth Walker rushed for 17 yards.
Yeah,
This is
something
probably
little.
his. He's been on fire. Like this is his worst game in like the last 6 games. So I mean, they can't all be out of this world. But I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucks, they have a good rush defense. So it
Yes,
showed.
yeah, they do.
It definitely showed. So good for the Bucks. Not but like you said, we didn't really get to watch this game. We were on the plane, but I'm happy because now the Seahawks are only 1 game away from the 49ers are only 1 game away from first place. So in
There
the
you go.
division. But let's move on to the next one, Dane.
All right. So this next game we definitely saw because we were actually at a bar watching this while we were waiting for the Chargers 49ers game. So we have the Minnesota Vikings playing Buffalo.
Oh,
And this
my
was
goodness.
probably one of the most wild games I've seen this year. I would say that this was probably one of the most exciting games I've seen all year.
It's probably the front runner for game of the year.
Yeah.
It's man. Okay, so first off, straight out of the barrel. I don't know what the hell the saying is. I'm just making shit up. Bills look good. The Bills look really good. And the Vikings, they didn't do anything for the first half, and then the second half it was like complete opposite. The Bills looked very stale.
They were down
And then
24-10 at
Yeah.
halftime.
And then the Vikings came back and won. I will say, like good win, good for the Minnesota Vikings, but they definitely didn't deserve to win this game. When you're on the fucking 1 yard line and you don't give the ball to Dalvin Cook and you put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands, you deserve to lose. Plus, Dalvin Cook dropped that touchdown on the offsides penalty, deserved to lose again. And then they got stopped with Kirk Cousins. And then they got the luckiest play of the year. Josh Allen fumbles on the 1 yard line. They get it and score. And I think Buffalo went back and tied it with a field goal. Yeah.
Yeah, so it went to OT.
Yeah. So in OT, I think that's the Bills' kryptonite. If I'm being honest, it looks like every time they go to overtime, they don't seem to like it very
Just
much.
those like flashback memes of like
Yeah.
coin toss. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I wasn't really expecting this game to be this close. Really, I thought Buffalo was going to handle business. I thought that Minnesota's a good team, but I didn't think that they were going to be able to compete. Really, and I think Minnesota showed that even though they got a couple hand-mes and they probably should have lost this game, they can still hang in there because they would have, even if they didn't score the touchdown, they would have been down by 3 points. So it's like they wouldn't have lost by much because they definitely had to bounce back in the second half. Like they definitely made halftime adjustments, came out firing. And Justin Jefferson, dude, he looked freaking phenomenal. Dalvin Cook.
Speaking of Justin Jefferson, thank you for reminding me, Dane. That catch. That's catch of the year.
Yeah,
That's got to be one of the arm strength,
dude,
of Justin Jefferson.
one-handed ripping it away from the defender so it's not an interception. That is incredible.
and putting enough pressure on the ball to where it doesn't touch the ground.
Yep.
Like, dude, that shit was just kudos to Justin Jefferson, man. He's showing why he's one of the best young wide receivers.
Yeah,
I mean, if he didn't already,
Yeah,
he balled out.
he got 193 receiving yards on 10 receptions, 16 targets. Like that's insane. Those are good numbers. And Dalvin Cook also had 119 yards on the ground and a touchdown. So, the Vikings look good. The Bills looked good, but Josh Allen, this is kind of like back-to-back weeks where he's struggled a little bit in the passing game. He's thrown 2 interceptions this week, and then I think he had a couple last week. So he didn't throw any touchdowns last week, but he did get some on the ground. So I'm not concerned about Josh Allen. I feel like this is kind of like just a little speed bump in the season. I think that those are going to be fine still. They're still a top 10 team, easy. So I wouldn't be too concerned. But, back-to-back losses for the Bills. We'll see where that goes for them the rest of the season.
I will say about the Bills, they did this last year. They had started off hot and then they go on like a losing streak. And sometimes it's better for the team. They figure things out. It makes them stronger in the end. And It's not how you finish or the middle part. It's how you, or it's not how you start or the middle part of the season. It's how you finish the season. So they'll be fine. It's just, Josh Allen's got to be a little bit better with the ball and the turnovers.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, there were a lot of games that we got wrong that we were expecting to be like home run picks. This was just one of the worst weeks in my recent memory of like betting and like putting bets down on teams. Like it just did not work out in our favor. But let's go to the next. Did you want to
so far
about this?
Yeah, well, just so far we've picked every game so far wrong. And yeah.
Yep,
But I think we only got like 4 or 5 games correct this week. So yeah, that's very shitty.
Yeah, not good at all. And this next game was another game that we got wrong. Detroit ended up edging out Chicago 31-30. I still think the Bears offense looks good. Dude, I'm just so happy for Justin Fields. Like he looks like a completely different quarterback. Mostly because of what they're doing with him on the ground. Like he rushed for 147 yards, was the leading rusher for this team, 2 touchdowns, threw for 167 more yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And, the Bears offense looks like a pretty well-oiled machine at this point. Like I feel like they finally figured out what they need to do with Justin Fields to make this offense click. Yeah. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough, pretty much Amon-Ra St. Brown ate this game. He had 119 yards. But Brock Wright was the one who got the receiving touchdown. And then Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift each had a rushing touchdown this game. So it was an exciting game. I'm glad to see these two teams like have a pretty competitive match, a high scoring match. So it was a fun, entertaining game. And I think this game could have gone either way, but I was a little bit surprised the Lions took this one.
I mean, they are tied with the Bears. They both have 3 wins. So, good for the Lions. I like the Lions. I'm rooting for them. I mean, I don't have much more to say. It was just a good win for the Lions.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next game. We have Jacksonville facing Kansas City. This is the first game that Jake and I guessed correctly. not really a surprise here. I mean, it was kind of a expected outcome where Kansas City was going to win. I think that Jacksonville made it competitive at certain parts.
Yeah, they definitely played against the Chiefs good. They were, they only lost by 10 points. That's like you said, they were competitive in it. So,
and I think the main reason Jacksonville didn't score as much is because Kansas City did a pretty good job of keeping Travis Etienne like out of the end zone and from rushing a shit ton of yards. He only rushed for 45 yards. Trevor Lawrence had a pretty good game though, 259, 2 touchdowns through the air, no interceptions. So that's good. Christian Kirk had another good game. So he's had like back-to-back good games. So we'll see if he's back for fantasy relevancy. It seems like it. But then on the other side, you have Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things. 331, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. They even got the ground game going. Isaiah Pacheco had almost 100 yards. Receiving was pretty neck and neck. I mean, so many receivers got utilized. Travis Kelce, Valdez-Scantling, and Kadarius Toney even got utilized and got a touchdown. So I think that's
2
kind
touchdowns.
Of did he get 2? Did he rush for 1?
Yeah, rushing and receiving. So.
Good for him. So yeah,
just another weapon for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean,
yeah, constantly locked and loaded.
Yeah, Juju looked good this year, or better than he was in Pittsburgh. McCole Hardman, he's had like games with like multiple touchdowns. And now they got Kadarius Toney and of course, Travis Kelce. There's just the Chiefs have so many weapons. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the Chiefs make big defensive plays when they need to. When the game's on the line or when they need to make a stop, they're good at that. Like they're a bend don't break type defense, and they step up when they need to. But other than that, I don't have too much else to say about this game. It was kind of the expected outcome in my opinion. So, you ready to move on, or did you want to go to a different part of the game?
No, let's move on. Next game, we got the Miami Dolphins beating the Cleveland Browns 39-17. I didn't think the Dolphins would smack them this hard, but I mean, the Dolphins look good, man. I mean,
yep.
They have made so many good moves. in the last couple years, and it's built them to where they are right now. And trading for Jeff Wilson, he had a monster game, 120 yards rushing, a touchdown. I mean, Raheem Mostert even had a decent game, and I like that because as a 49ers fan, we know all too well how I don't want to say delicate. What's the word? I don't want to say injury prone, but let's just say injury prone. How injury prone Raheem Mostert can be. So getting Jeff Wilson in there to like kind of share the load with Raheem Mostert, that's just like, good trade. And then two of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, two of the fastest,
Most dynamic, great hands, route running, everything.
And Trent Sherfield. Yeah, I mean, if you're not a 49er fan or a Dolphin fan, I'm pretty sure nobody knows who that is. But Trent Sherfield had a freaking game too. And yeah, it's just Tua looks good. The offense was running on all cylinders. He had 3 touchdowns. It's not much more else I can say. But the Dolphins look really, really good.
Yeah, the Dolphins offense is another well-oiled machine. Like, they put up points, and I think that goes to show, like, when you have a competent quarterback, but like you give him good help in the receiving core and the rushing attack, like, the offense is obviously going to succeed. I don't get it. Like, that's one thing that I gripe and complain about the Chargers. Like, you have all these injuries, and then they made no moves to get Justin Herbert any receiver help. Doesn't make sense to me. But focusing back on this game, Jacoby Brissett, kind of just putting up Jacoby Brissett numbers, not anything spectacular, nothing like atrocious. 212, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Nick Chubb only rushed for 63 yards. I think it's because they had to play keep up, so they couldn't really stick to their bread and butter and do the running attack. So when you're down a lot of points, then you got to put it in Jacoby Brissett's hands, and it's not going to work out because, I don't know, he just doesn't have the talent, in my opinion.
Dude, what is going on with Kareem Hunt this year, man? He's just been non-existent for this team.
Bro, I have no idea. I just think that they don't utilize him. They basically just give it to Nick Chubb. And the times that he does get utilized, he'll make a play here and there. But, if you have him in fantasy like I do, he's touchdown dependent. The only time you're ever going to be able to play him is if he gets you a touchdown. But
yeah.
We'll see. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add about this game, Jake?
Not about the game. It's just, so they're 3-6, and Deshaun Watson's going to be coming back soon. It's just like, I mean, it's probably too late. Maybe if they won this game, but they would have a chance for playoffs. But I think it's too late.
If they win out, technically they still have a chance. But if they lose one more game, I'm pretty sure it's done.
Yeah. Well, good job for the Dolphins. Congratulations to the Dolphins. They look really good. The next game, we have the Giants beating the Houston Texans, 24-16.
Saquon,
not
dude.
much to say. Yeah, Saquon. I mean, we already knew that this team ran through Saquon. I'll also say Saquon, and congrats to Darius Slayton for making his return and having a good game. 3 for 95 and a touchdown. So good for him. They, really nothing for the Texans, I can say positive. I mean,
Davis Mills. Yeah. Davis Mills was pretty solid, and Dameon Pierce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is my problem with, Davis Mills. Like, he looks good at times, and then I think he needs weapons. He's just mid-tier quarterback probably. He's just on a bad team.
I like your take when you said, like, if he was on, say, like a team like the New York Jets or something like that, that you think that they would have more success than with Zach Wilson because he would have weapons. He would have a better defense. The pieces around the Houston Texans organization currently is not very high or very good. I think that within the next couple of years with the draft capital and, the rookies getting better, they'll be back in like that upset kind of mode and possibly a fringe playoff team. But, as of right now, they're 1-7-1. I think they are one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NFL as of right now. There's just not too much to like about this team as a whole. I mean, they stayed competitive, but that's about it.
Yeah, and then they don't trade Brandon Cooks, which is just so dumb because, I mean, they probably could have gotten like a second, maybe probably a third, more likely for him, and that would have just helped him out next year because they're not winning anything this year. But they should have done that, and then they have what's his name, John Mechie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one who got cancer, right?
Mhm.
So hopefully he makes a speedy recovery from all that, and then they'll have him as a weapon next year. So yeah, I think they just need another weapon, another wide receiver that's young, fast, big. But they got a running back now. They got a decent quarterback, I think. So they just need some more wide receiver.
I still
weapons.
think that they're going to address quarterback in the draft. That's my opinion, especially if you have the number 1 overall pick. It's either Bryce Young or Will Anderson, in my opinion. But Will Anderson, if they don't go the quarterback route, would be my number 1 pick.
See, if I'm the Texans and I have the number 1 overall pick, I trade it. Because you got Davis Mills. I trade it, get like a first, and then like next year's first or something like that. Like trade down. Like, the 49ers did this a couple years ago when with the Chicago. They made it seem like they were going to take Mitch Trubisky, and Chicago wanted Mitch Trubisky. So they just traded down one spot, and they got like they got a extra first round pick. So it's like you got to do some shit like that to, really boost up your team. Because you have a lot of holes. That's what I would do. Because for me, I'm rolling with Davis Mills until there's like, I don't know. Yeah. So that's what I would do. But yeah, good win for the Giants. 7-2 now. They just continue to roll. They had that loss a couple of weeks ago, but good for the Giants, man.
Yeah.
Unlike this next team, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the New Orleans Saints 20-10.
This was a boring game, in my opinion. It was mostly defense, but it was like, dude, I was just surprised that the Steelers ended up coming out on top in this game. Kenny Pickett only threw for 199 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but Najee Harris actually had a somewhat decent and relevant game this week, 99 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the story is just the Steelers defense, man. The Steelers defense picked off Andy Dalton twice. Alvin Kamara got held to 26 yards rushing. Like, no one.
Whatchamacallit came back. What's his name? TJ Watt came back this game too.
Yeah. So, obviously getting one of your best, if not the best edge rusher in the NFL, or top 3 at least, it's going to help. It's going to help your team overall. I don't know if they're even going to make a playoff push at this point because they're only 3-6. I have no trust in this offense as of right now. So good win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They needed it. They still have a very small, minimal chance to make playoffs at this point, but good win for them. Saints just look bad overall.
Yeah, I wonder when they when they put Jameis back in. Because, Andy Dalton was good for a couple games, and then it's like...
Then he slides.
Now give it to Jameis. Let's just roll with the hot hand, man, at this point. That's what I would say.
Right.
Andy Dalton's not the future for this team. Jameis Winston, maybe, but he's kind of a turnover machine, too. So, I don't know. I'd say they give Jameis another shot, but Saints look bad. They're not a playoff team at this point. Yeah, let's move on.
All right.
This next game, we got the Tennessee Titans beating the Denver Broncos 17-10. This was a good win for the Titans.
Yeah. Ryan Tannehill came back.
Yep, Ryan Tannehill came back. He had a really decent game. Threw for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry didn't have that great of a game.
53 yards on the ground.
Yeah. So Ryan Tannehill, took over. The defense took over. They held the Broncos to 10 points. So,
their top receiver, Nick Westbrook Akine.
Akine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 119 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns today. Good for him, man. Like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Now he balled out. I think Jerry Judy got hurt in this game, or was it before? I forget.
I think it was in this game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. Again, the Broncos continue to show why they're just a freaking disappointment.
This offense is bad.
They're 3-6. 3-6. They would have to win out to make playoffs, and the way they've played this year, I don't see that happening. So, congratulations, Dane. You don't have to see them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't see them making a push at all, especially with the way their offense is playing. But, I was also happy for the Titans. Treylon Burks comes back. He finally gets to play after missing however many games because of turf toe. But, the Titans defense is legit. I mean, they really put pressure on Patrick Mahomes a couple weeks ago, and now it's a bad offense in the Denver Broncos, but kept them to 10 points. Like, this defense is legit. So watch out for the Titans. They're just as good as they've been in recent memory. So I'm ready to move on if you are.
Oh, yep.
All right. Next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts, the newly led Jeff Saturday Indianapolis Colts beating the Raiders, just showing why the Raiders are so bad this year. Dude. Oh, my God. You lose to Jeff Saturday. And not only that, like, Matt Ryan comes back, really fucks me in fantasy. Like, they just decide to go back to the original starting quarterback. Like, I think that's a good move. I think he was better. So
yeah, I also think that's a good move. I mean, part of the reason I made this team 32 in my power rankings is because of Sam Ellinger. I don't think that dude gave them a chance to win any games, and I think Matt Ryan, for however bad he looked in the beginning of the season, I mean, he's still probably their best chance to win. So what?
Without a doubt,
they have 4 wins now. So the Colts, they're right in it, man. For at least for their division, I mean, they're gonna have to take down the Titans, which they already did. Am I wrong on that?
I do not remember if they've beaten the Titans this year. Hang on one sec. Keep talking. I'll look that up for you.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, they're right there in the thick of it. Jonathan Taylor had his best freaking game of the season, and imagine that they win when Jonathan Taylor has a good game. I've been needing that. One of my fantasy teams, I had the number 1 overall pick. Woohoo, Jonathan Taylor. This is the first game where it's actually worked out. And he had like one of the highest or the fastest ball carrier speeds in the NFL yesterday. So good for him. Good for the Colts. Good for Jeff Saturday, man. Like to come off the couch and win your first game. It's just cool, man. That's just cool. That's like, hell yeah, dude.
Dude, I love the storyline behind him, like talking shit on Twitter about how bad the Raiders look. And then his first game in the NFL coming in as an NFL head coach is to play the Raiders and show how bad they are by beating them. It's hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, dude, when Jonathan Taylor gets going, this offense is going to succeed. By the way, I looked it up. The Colts have not beaten the Titans. They lost both games to the Titans this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they are F then, because I don't see them making that 7th seed. But good for the Colts. They're still not giving up. But the Raiders, man, they're 2-7, dude.
2-7, yeah. They have a worse record than the Bears and the Detroit Lions. If you would have told me that the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears would have a better record at this point in the season, I would have called you fucking high.
They have a worse record than the Saints. No, the Saints, the Steelers. Those are all 3-win teams.
The Raiders were supposed to be a playoff caliber team. There were so many expectations for this team at the beginning of the season, and they've all just kind of gone down the drain. I mean, there's not too much to say. I think Devontae Adams had a good game, and
he had an excellent game.
Yeah,
126.
126. Josh Jacobs got going a little bit. Derek Carr, 248, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's just this Raiders defense is bad. Like, it's really bad. And I think it's going to
Yeah.
keep them out of games because they're not going to be able to stop the clock. And if you can't stop the clock, people can just run on you. Case in point, I mean, this Colts offense is a bad offensive line, and then they ran all over this team. So Raiders definitely going to be out of playoff contention already, which is surprising. 2-7. That's a terrible start. But, you know, good win for the Colts. I don't have anything else to say.
Me neither. This next game, another one we got wrong. Oh yeah, we definitely didn't pick the Colts to win. Another one we got wrong. Green Bay upsets Dallas in overtime, 31-28. Dude, Christian Watson, man,
Yeah.
coming out game, dude, or break. Is that what it's called? Coming out game.
Yeah, it's coming out party.
Yeah, his coming out party. He looked freaking great. Aaron Rodgers looked like he's finally had a weapon. Unfortunately, I think he's hurt again.
Christian Watson, did he get injured again?
I think it's something about his ankle. I don't know if it's anything serious, but you know, hopefully it's not too serious. But yeah, no, Christian Watson looked good.
Aaron Jones looked great.
I just you remember, weren't we talking about that? Like, when this would be like a Packers game to win.
Yep.
So, I mean, I still don't think they're that good. I mean, I think they just played the Cowboys really good.
The biggest question mark I have about this game, Jake, is how the fuck do you get like manhandled by Detroit's defense, and then Dallas's defense, top tier, and you score 31 points? Like, how does that make any sense?
That's why I think the Cowboys just had a bad game, man. I think, you know, they didn't play up to their potential. But then again, like, look at the stats. Like, Tony Pollard had 150 yards rushing. CeeDee Lamb had 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't really know what went on.
28 points.
It's just, I think it was just the defense at this point. They just couldn't stop them. So I think they had a bad game. You know, every team's allowed a couple of those a year. Just don't do it too often. I still think the Cowboys are good. And I still think the Packers are suspect. Like, I don't think the Packers are good.
Well, yeah, I mean, they lost 5 in a row coming into this. Was it 5 or was it 4? Something like that. They lost many games in a row, and then they finally get a win. And it's against a good team. Don't get me wrong, but when you go on a losing streak for however long they did, and then you get your first win, pump the brakes. Like, don't just jump immediately back on the bandwagon at this point. But we'll see if Green Bay can get a couple wins rolling. You know, they could be a fringe playoff team. So we'll see. Do you have anything else to add, Jake?
No, I do not. This next game was a battle of the backup quarterbacks. The Arizona Cardinals beat the Los Angeles Rams 27-17. I really don't have anything to say.
The Rams offense is just not
putrid,
man. And you know, now that Cooper Kupp's injured, what's going to happen? Like, this team can't run the ball. Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson combined for 43 yards total rushing. Kyron Williams got 9 yards on 1 attempt, which is better than anything that Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson were getting average-wise. But Tyler Higbee led this group in 73 yards. Allen Robinson only had 44 yards. And it's like these teams still have good defenses. Like, the Rams still have a pretty decent defense. And then Arizona scored 27 points on them.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think the Rams season is all but done at this point. I mean, it's unfortunate that Matthew Stafford was out with this game. I don't know what to think. I mean,
Super Bowl hangovers lasting a little bit longer than I anticipated.
Yeah. I mean, good for the Cardinals because this win helps keep their playoff hopes alive. I'm still very suspicious of them. You know, when it's 2 backup quarterbacks playing each other, it's hard to take anything away from it, in my opinion. So we'll see where the Cardinals go from here. They're going to get Hollywood Brown back there. They should get him back next week or maybe the week after. So, that's good for them. But yeah, I mean, good for the Cardinals. That's really all I have to say.
Yeah, I want to just point out Rondale Moore has been stepping up for this team. Like, he's been utilized significantly in the absence of Hollywood Brown. The only thing that I have a question about is why the hell did they get rid of Eno Benjamin? Why would you drop that, especially with like James Conner, who's like an injury-prone running back? Eno Benjamin's like a scat back. Like he's still got power, but he's your speed back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Keontae Ingram, who's not a small back. That's another power back. I don't get it.
I don't understand that one at all either. That's just that move is baffling to me. Yeah, I mean, not much more to say. I will say this: AJ Green, his touchdown that he caught, that shit was beautiful.
Yeah, it looked like
vintage
prime
right there.
AJ Green.
Yeah, vintage, baby. Good job, AJ Green. All right, let's move on to the next game. This is our game, Dane.
Yep, that it is.
We got the 49ers beating the Chargers 22-16.
Kind of what we expected.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that it was competitive. The Chargers blew this lead. They were up, I think, 16-3 at one point. And then, the 49ers just came back, bounced back. And, of course, the Chargers had a couple more season-ending injuries. I do not get it, man. No one can stay healthy this year. We just lost 2 more players for the season. It's like, how does that even happen? But Justin Herbert looked pretty good for the weapons that he was dealing with. That interception at the end, I was wondering how the hell that was so off. But Jake pointed out to me that it was kind of tipped at the line. So it wasn't necessarily all on Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers defense actually looked way better than expected, especially with the injuries that they have and how bad their running defense is. They still gave up a decent amount, but Christian McCaffrey only got 38 yards. And then Elijah Mitchell had 89. This is a team that's been giving up like over 200 yards a game on the ground. So I think they exceeded expectations, especially against a good, healthy 49ers team that came back. But, the 49ers were the better team, and they still won this game.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, 49ers, I was looking at it. They had like 5 or 6 third down conversions. That was probably the biggest thing that caused them to win. It was a good game, man. I mean, I'm actually, so like every loss that the 49ers have had this year is like when they've lost bad. Like, and they didn't look super good yesterday when we watched them. They just ended up winning. It was just it was a gritty win, man. It was a good win. That's kind of a win that like helps turn your season around, helps just give you that dog mentality. And we talk about the Christian McCaffrey only getting whatever amount of yards. I'm happy because they're not giving in all to Christian McCaffrey. Like, I don't want him to have so much. You don't want to be
dependent on one player.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah Mitchell's good. Like, he was good last year. He was our leading rusher. Before he got hurt this year, he would have been the starting running back. But it all works out. So now we got a nice little running back tandem. Brandon Ayuk had himself a game. He had a drop pass or a drop touchdown in the end zone. We saw that, like, we were on that side of the stadium where he dropped it, and it was just like, oh. Man, but you know what? He made up for it towards the end of the game where he had a third down conversion. So yeah, it was a good win for the 49ers. The Chargers played. We probably shouldn't have been that close, but Sunday Night Football, the Chargers still have Justin Herbert. And yeah, it was a good win. So hopefully the 49ers can keep it rolling, man, because they're only one game out of first place in the division now.
Hell yeah. We'll see if the Chargers can get at least some players back. Maybe they can stay alive in the playoff hunt. But moving on, Monday night. What a wild Monday night. The I didn't see this one coming. Washington Commanders knock off the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is now 8-1. Taylor Heineke, man, balled out. Antonio Gibson did all right, but I think Terry McLaurin had a great game. Terry McLaurin had 128 yards, no touchdowns, but on 8 receptions. Jalen Hurts struggled a little bit this game, I will say, and I think that when he struggles, this entire team kind of struggles. What happened to AJ Brown?
He disappeared.
Dude, 7 receiving yards. Are you kidding me? 7 to AJ Brown. Quez Watkins was your leading receiver in 80 yards. Devontae Smith, 39 yards. Dallas Goedert, 23. You know, it just wasn't the best game from Jalen Hurts in this offense, you know. And then the Eagles screwed Jake out of our fantasy league this week. Literally down to the wire.
I was up by 3 points. I had Devontae Smith and the Eagles defense, and that lateral at the end of the game made me lose by like 0.50 or some shit like that. So 0.5 or whatever. So, you know, I was high because I thought I upset the number 1 seed, and then it recalculated, and then I was very sad. So I will say about this game, though, the Eagles definitely made a bunch of boneheaded mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, the interception, I think the interception on AJ Brown was just a good play. Well, no, it kind of like bounced off his hands and bounced into the defender's hands. So I wouldn't say that was like Jalen Hurts' fault. And then they had 2 back-to-back fumbles.
Right.
So, you know, what's his name? Dallas Goedert fumbled, almost was a scoop and score. And then the very next drive, I think it was Quez Watkins where he fumbled. And that was just like, oh my goodness. And then the very last play of the game, or on the last drive of the last drive of the game, the Eagles stopped the Commanders, and they had like a late hit on Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, that was just bad. Yeah. That was bad. Yeah. You cannot hit him when he's going down like that, especially to the neck or head. Like, come on, that is such a boneheaded play. And
that's a veteran. That was Hassan Riddick. Like, he's a veteran. Like, you can't be doing that shit. So I honestly, I think the Eagles pissed this game away. It was all because of their fault. And you know what? It's probably better for them because now they don't think like they're the shit. They just lost to, you know, a division rival. They'll go back, regroup, and they'll learn from it.
Really
it sucks though.
So I just want to add one thing. Time of possession of this game. Washington had the ball for 40 minutes. Philadelphia only had 19 minutes of the game.
Jesus.
Just want to point that out.
Yeah, the Commanders were running good, man. Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson both scored. And like you said, Terry McLaurin. And honestly, this team looks better with Taylor Heineke.
Agreed.
I think they play for him. He's their leader. You know, it just doesn't sound like Carson Wentz is very, I wouldn't say light, but it just seems like
he doesn't command the respect of his teammates, it seems like.
Yeah, like he's not, I don't know. And he's going to be coming back from injury, and, you know, I hope they make the right decision and just keep Taylor Heineke in. I know he's Carson Wentz or whatever. You know, you traded for him, blah, blah, blah. But, like, if you're winning games, like, they're in playoff contention now.
Yeah.
Geez. All 4 NFC East teams might be in playoff contention. Or, like, in the playoff picture. Is that – I'd have to look. But as a 49er fan, we wanted the Eagles to stay undefeated. But now that the Commanders won, they are pretty much tied with the 49ers. So,
yeah, this is wild. Yeah, everyone in the NFC East this year has 500 or above.
Yeah. So, good for the Commanders. It was a good win for them. They played lights out. So good for the Commanders.
And this is still without Chase Young. That is
Yeah.
one of the most surprising things. It's like Chase Young, I feel like in his young career has barely played or been on the field because he's dealt with injury the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But anything else that you wanted to add, Jake?
Jeez Louise. I was going to say something.
You're gonna say something like really quick.
It was something about the Commanders. Can't think of it right now. No, can't think of it. Oh well, must not have been important.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. Sorry about the tone, the demeanor. We're exhausted. You know, we partied very hard. We enjoyed the tailgate. We had fun. But yeah, guys, thank you again for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead, give us a follow on our Instagram at Cannonballs with the Z_podcast. Jake, you have anything to add?
Ditto. Thanks for listening, and as always, peace.